All right. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to hop on here with the lovely and talented Barb Thornton. I asked Barb to hop on here just to be able to review what Barb has experienced and sort of the wisdom that Barb has gained from being inside the Change Pain Academy. So, Barb, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
See you.
Oh, good to see you too. We've talked about this for a while, so here we go. Let's dive into this because I think it's important for people to hear your experience as opposed to anything I have to say. So, if you wouldn't mind telling our listeners, Barb, where were you about a year ago before you joined in the Change Pain Academy?
A year ago, I was dealing with both chronic issues and acute issues. I still am. And I spent my life on the couch.
Mhm.
I had almost no social interaction. And since I live alone, that takes a big toll on your mood and your perception of life and your motivation. One of the problems caused by my more acute, which is now chronic problem, is that sitting is very painful for me. So to drive anywhere to see my family 2 or 3 hours, I couldn't do it. Going into town to get groceries even hurt. I had no idea of what was happening inside my own body, and I felt very unsafe in my own body because I didn't know what was happening. And I guess I would say I felt very lost, confused, powerless, frustrated, and useless,
Mm.
and very overwhelmed that all of this was happening and I had no control over any of it, or felt I had no control over any of it.
Right, which are big, big, bold words, right? And I know that a lot of people in our community feel exactly the same way, and that's why I'm so glad we're having this conversation today. Can you tell me what sort of frustrations you really were experiencing back then with your chronic pain care?
I knew I was not being heard
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't make them understand what I was experiencing or what my life had become or what that was doing to every aspect of my life. Family doctor and a specialist decided that everything was gastric related.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it wasn't. I
Mm-hmm.
just knew it wasn't. We know our own bodies,
Yeah.
but when they won't listen to us,
Mm-hmm.
then they go off on their mission despite what we're feeling inside our own body. Very little information or conflicting information. The specialist would tell me one thing, my family doctor would say, no, that's not right. And then you're in this limbo because you wait and wait and wait to see one of them again.
Right.
And then you just get another conflicting story.
Mm-hmm.
I was really frustrated because I just couldn't seem to make them hear me. I didn't know how to articulate what was happening inside my body, let alone my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you live on the couch,
Mm-hmm.
you fall into depression no matter how hard you try not to.
Right.
So it was just like beating my head against a wall. More pills, more tests, no answers, more conflicting information. It was just a tornado of frustration, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I think you need to patent that. A tornado of frustration. I really like that. It's really good. Barb, can you give me some examples of how learning about pain inside of the Change Pain Academy through our learning path has really helped you in your conversations with your doctors and also the decisions that you've made about your care?
Sure. I think a lot of us, most of us, maybe all of us, are brought up to believe that doctors are demigods.
Mm.
Um, Even our society behaves that way. Doctor says I can't do this or I can do this. He can't go to work. The doctor says I qualify for disability. All of those things. We are brought up with the mindset that doctors know everything, and they don't.
Mm.
The doctor doesn't tell you when or how or to rebuild your life. The doctor doesn't help you find a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor doesn't hold your hand when you live on the couch. the medical system doesn't have permission to control my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a long time to realize that,
Mm-hmm.
much longer than I like to admit.
Mm-hmm.
But there came a point that I went, oh, okay, enough.
Yeah.
They aren't hearing you. You've got to figure this out somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I was not managing my journey with chronic pain in the same way I manage every other aspect of my life.
Ah.
So I don't buy a car without test driving it and maybe going to 2 or 3 dealerships. I don't buy a house without looking around and making sure the roof is solid and because the seller's not going to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just accepting everything the doctor said as gospel. And why would I manage my own body in a lesser way than I would manage any other aspect of my life?
Ah.
So I realized that the only way around that was to treat it as every other aspect of my life and get myself up to speed on what was going on inside my body and what I needed to know and how I could have an intelligent conversation with the doctor. So what I have learned inside the academy is really pretty astounding. I had no idea about a lot of this because, again, we only believe what we know to be true. Your ankle hurts, you put a bandage on it, you cut, like, and if a doctor says, then it must be so.
Yeah.
But the other aspect of that is I'm kind of skeptical when it comes to certain practices or suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
For example, mindfulness. I hate that word. It's a
Mm-hmm.
dumb word. But to me, that was just woo-woo stuff, new age stuff, or, like the Atkins diet or whatever. Like it was a fad. It was,
Flavor of the day.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I never tried it. I never gave it an honest try.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I would give a car an honest try if I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for a car.
Right.
So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, you're pretty hypocritical when you will do all this everywhere else, but you won't do it for your insides,
Right.
the inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it opened my eyes to possibilities. I've tried many new things.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them work for me, some of them don't.
Right.
But until I gave it an honest try, I couldn't honestly say whether it would or wouldn't.
Right.
So the possibilities of the knowledge that I've gained has allowed me to drop the doctor knows
Yes.
and go at it a perspective of, until I try this, I don't know.
Mm. I know in our previous conversations that you've had some real clarity around, or at least you've sensed that your conversations have changed with your doctors. And I feel like just based on the conversations we've had, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but that seems like you are now coming into this with a little bit more authority than perhaps in the past.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
I find that when you challenge in a nice way a doctor, or you are able to speak from knowledge as opposed to help me, help me, help me,
Yes.
they respond in a very different way.
Yes.
They talk to you on a very different level. I have a new doctor now
Mm-hmm.
who has total respect for what I have learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I no longer feel like things are being done to me
Mm-hmm.
or around me. Yes. Or about me.
Right.
I feel like I have equal decision-making power. And he respects that, knowing that I do have some knowledge of what I'm talking about. And it's allowed me to make some pretty big decisions on whether I go down this road or this road, or what we deal with first.
Right.
Or because I'm a walking disaster, as you know, but like other doctors have said, well, we're going to deal with this and not anything else. Whereas now I'm saying, you know what? The biggest problem for me is this, and he's listening to me.
Yes, that's where the power lies, when you are the one who gets to say, I believe this is where we need to go next.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes from a place of doing so much of the work that you've already done. So well done. If I could ask quickly, what would you say has changed for you, other than conversations you've had with the physicians, other than perhaps a little more confidence in what's going on inside your body? But what has changed for you since being inside the Change Pain Academy?
Well, the word everything comes to mind.
Mm.
I manage my life in a different way now,
Mm-hmm.
and that gives me more control over my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I have found different strategies that help me. Like I said, not all of them, but some of them. I respect what my body's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
I realize now that sometimes you just got to check out for a day or two and get back to what you enjoy or what brings you joy. I make time to find joy every day, whether it's a little bit or a lot, depends.
Yeah.
But I no longer lay on the couch worrying or wondering about what's going on inside me. And I no longer wait for that next appointment to fix me.
Oh, that is amazing. Okay, so Barb, what is next in your pain journey?
Well, I don't think anybody can say for sure, because as we know, when you have a cascade of things going on, you kind of have to take one day at a time. But my intention is to continue to live a life that I love, not my old life by any stretch, but a life that I love, that I've carved out for myself, understanding my limitations better. It's very important that other chronic pain warriors get the message that they do have some power, that they do have some control. And I have found purpose in my life, which I didn't have, by working towards spreading awareness and documenting my experiences through my webpage and my Facebook group, and encouraging people to open their mind. And, you know, you want to go to one car lot and buy one car, the first one you see, okay, but you're probably not going to be happy with it. Learn about it, go and check out more. So people are very reluctant to try new things because they're stuck in the doctor says.
Right.
And I was too. I definitely was too. Yeah. But there is more. There is knowledge to be had. There's a better understanding of your own body, and there's a reevaluation of what's important in your life, and a dedication to finding a purposeful life that contains joy and contentment, as opposed to resistance and frustration.
That is the best way we could have possibly ended this conversation. And that is the hope that we're trying to pass along to everybody else. So, Barb, I'm just going to leave it at that, because honestly, I think that just describes it perfectly. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything I may have missed?
Just that I would strongly encourage all warriors to just open their mind a crack, just a tiny crack, and learn something new about their own being. And just give it a chance. Will you, I don't like the word recovery so much that practitioners use, because it's not possible for a lot of us in the true sense of the word. Like, I'm better, I don't hurt anymore. That's not possible. But a good life despite pain is absolutely possible.
Right. And you are the best example right now that I have to be able to share with that. So thank you so much, Barb, for your time today, as always. And thanks for everyone for listening in.